Ghostly tales, yet mirrors of human life. Hey everyone! Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Ghostly Tales from LiuLiangcai. Today, I'm going to tell you 3 short stories. The first story is titled, Beautiful Woman's Head. A few traveling merchants were staying at an inn in the capital. The inn was connected to neighboring houses by a single layer of pinewood wall. A tree knot had fallen off the pinewood wall, leaving a hole the size of a cup. One day, a woman's head appeared through the hole. She had her hair styled in a phoenix coiffure and was exceptionally beautiful. Shortly after, the woman extended an arm through the hole, her skin as white as jade. The merchants were startled, thinking the woman might be a ghost or a demon, and attempted to capture her, but she withdrew. After a while, the woman appeared again, but the neighbors claimed they hadn't seen any such woman. The merchants tried to capture her once more, but she quickly retreated, leaving them empty-handed. One merchant, holding a sharp knife, waited beneath the hole in the wall. Eventually, the woman's head appeared again. The merchant struck with his knife, severing the woman's head, and blood spilled everywhere. The merchants were shocked and immediately reported the incident to the innkeeper. The innkeeper, terrified, took the woman's head to the authorities. The officials arrested the merchants and interrogated them, but their testimonies were absurd and inconsistent. The merchants were imprisoned for 6 months, but the magistrate could not obtain a confession that fit the crime. No neighbors reported any deaths or harm in their homes. In the end, the magistrate had no choice but to release the merchants and hastily bury the woman's head. The second story is titled, LiuLiangcai. In Jinan Prefecture, Huailiren once told me that he knew someone named LiuLiangcai who was the reincarnation of a fox. Initially, LiuLiangcai's father, Liu Taiwan, lived in the South Mountain. One day, an old man visited Liu Taiwan. The old man claimed his surname was Hu. When Liu Taiwan asked where he lived, the old man replied, "I live in this mountain. It is quiet and sparsely populated here, and I know you are the only person nearby worth making acquaintance with, so I came to visit you." The old man and Liu Taiwan conversed, and the old man was so articulate and clever that Liu Taiwan took a liking to him, offering wine and drinking with him until he was drunk and left. The next day, the old man came again, and their friendship grew even deeper during their conversation. Liu Taiwan asked, "Since we have grown so close, I would like to know where you live so I can visit you in the future." The old man replied, "I must not hide this from you. I am actually an old fox living in the mountains. Since we are destined to be friends, I dared to visit your home. Although I cannot bring you fortune, I will not bring you disaster either. Please believe me and do not fear my true identity." Liu Taiwan was not bothered by this revelation, and their bond became even stronger. At that time, they each discussed their ages. The old man who, being older, called himself the elder brother, while Liu Taiwan called himself the younger brother. From that time on, they interacted like close siblings. Whenever Liu Taiwen encountered minor fortunes or misfortunes, the old man would warn him in advance. At that time, Liu Taiwen had no sons, and the old man told him, "Do not worry. Soon, I will become your descendant." Liu Taiwen was surprised by this statement. The old man explained, "I estimate that my lifespan is nearing its end, and the time for my reincarnation is approaching. I think it is better to be reborn in my old friend's family rather than someone else's." Liu Taiwen asked, "I have heard that immortals can live for 10,000 years. You are still young, why are you suddenly facing the end?" The old man shook his head and said, "This is not something you can know." After saying this, the old man left. That night, Liu Taiwen dreamed of the old man again, who said, "I have now come." When Liu Taiwen awoke, his servant informed him that Liu's wife had just given birth to a boy, who was LiuLiangcai. As LiuLiangcai grew up, he was short in stature but quick-witted and humorous, resembling the old man. In his youth, he was known for his talent and passed the imperial examination in the Rinchen year. Furthermore, LiuLiangcai was known for his chivalry and was quick to help others. Consequently, visitors from Qin, Chu, Yan, and Zhao frequently came to his home, almost trampling on his doorstep. Vendors selling wine and pastries often gathered in front of his house, transforming Liu's once quiet residence into a bustling marketplace. The third story is titled, Two Stories Regarding Separation and Reunion Amidst Wartime Chaos. First story. Liu Fanghui was from the capital city. His younger sister was betrothed to a man named Dai Sheng, and their wedding day was already set. However, at this time, the Qing troops had invaded, and Liu Fanghui's family, worried that his sister might be a burden during the chaos of war, decided to dress her up and send her to Dai Sheng's house ahead of time. Before the sister could finish dressing up, Qing's soldiers broke in, and Liu Fanghui and his family had to flee in different directions. The sister was captured by a Qing army officer who was in charge of 300 soldiers. She stayed with the officer for several days, but he did not make any improper advances toward her. At night, the officer had her sleep on a separate bed and provided her with plenty of food and drink. Soon, the officer captured a young man, about the same age as Liu's sister, who was handsome and refined. The officer said to the young man, "I have no son and would like to adopt you to continue my family line. Will you agree?" The young man, who agreed, was then told by the officer, "If you agree to be my son, you must marry this girl." The young man, who was pleased with Liu's sister, gladly complied with the officer's arrangement. The officer had them share a bed, and they were very harmonious and joyful together. Later, while lying together, they exchanged names and realized that the young man was indeed Dai Sheng. Second story. A certain official in Shaanxi, who served in the Salt administration, did not bring his female family members with him out of concern that they might be a burden. At that time, the rebellion of Jiangxin caused the Shaanxi region to fall into chaos, severing communication between the official and his family. After the turmoil subsided, he he sent someone to investigate the situation back home, but the area within 100 miles was deserted, and there was no way to inquire about his family's whereabouts. Coincidentally, when the official returned to the capital to report on his duties, he saw an old servant whose wife had just died. The old servant was poor and unable to remarry, so the official gave him some silver to buy a wife. At that time, the imperial army returned triumphantly to the capital, bringing countless women as captives. These women were marked with straw tags and sold in the market like cattle and horses. The old servant took the silver to the market to buy a wife but was hesitant to inquire about the price of younger women due to the limited amount of silver. The old servant noticed an elderly woman among those being sold who was dressed very neatly and decided to buy her. After being brought home, the elderly woman sat on the bed, carefully examined the old servant, and said, "Aren't you that old servant? I recognize you." The old servant asked how she knew him, and the elderly woman replied, "You used to work with my son, how could I not recognize you?" The old servant was shocked and immediately reported this to the official. The official, upon seeing the elderly woman, realized that she was his mother. They recognized each other and cried bitterly. The official then repaid the old servant double the amount he had paid to buy his mother. With the extra money, the old servant no longer desired an elderly wife and instead bought a distinguished woman in her 30s. As they walked together, the woman looked at him and said, "Aren't you the old servant?" The old servant was once again surprised and asked her how she knew him. The woman said, "You used to work with my husband, how could I not recognize you?" The old servant, even more astonished, took the woman to see the official. The official realized that this woman was his wife. The couple reunited and wept loudly. In one day, the official was reunited with his mother and wife, and his joy was beyond measure. Soon after, the official used 100 taels of silver to arrange a marriage for the old servant with a beautiful bride. This shows that the official must have been a very kind person, as even spirits and gods recognized his goodness and helped him find his wife and mother. Unfortunately, the storyteller could never remember the official's name, but it is said he was quite famous, and people in Shaanxi might know him. Alright. That's all for today's ghostly tales, Beautiful Woman's Head, LiuLiangcai, and 2 stories regarding separation and reunion amidst wartime chaos. If you enjoyed these stories, please give us a like and subscribe. Please also encourage everyone to comment and share more. We'll see you in the next episode.